Hi, Tricia.
Number 6.
Yahoo!
We did
Episode
it,
Labor
number
of Love
6.
6. This is so fun. And we're talking to such incredible people. We really are. Everybody plays such a unique part, in this journey that we're on. And we're finding that out more and more. The more people we talk to, everyone's just on their unique path to make this whole thing work perfectly. Isn't it so cool?
And it's our first international episode. Can we
Yes.
stretch it that far?
No, yes, this is LOL Canada style. So this is just
Yes.
going to be so cool. So we have two amazing ladies. The first lady, Ornella, she is active in the chats and with all the podcasts, and she is such a passionate poster on X with the things, and you could just feel her exuberance come through all of that. And then we have the amazing Dianne, DC Lidstone's wife, who moved to Canada from the United States because of her love for her husband and they're both doing labor of love in their own way. So I can't wait to bring them on. Hi, Ornella.
Hey,
Hi,
how are you?
Diane.
Thanks for having me.
Yes, this is so awesome to be able to spend some time and get to know both of you Canada style
That's
today.
right.
And you do
Right.
want to tell your screen name, right, Ornella?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, okay.
Nah, no problem. Thanks for asking. No, that's great.
Okay. Yes, this is the famous hair therapy. I think
Yeah.
most people are going to recognize that name from the chat.
Yeah, that's right. They might not recognize Ornella.
That's right. Hair
Right?
therapy.
Yeah.
Yes. And
See,
there
Diane knows.
yeah.
Well, I'm little Dianne on Rumble, but on X it says Speckle and Sprightly because those were longtime gamer names a long time ago. And my first account, I think, was also Sprightly, but that one's gone. So
Crazy.
Yeah.
Welcome.
So,
Thank you.
Dianne.
Yeah.
So, yes, please welcome. That's so awesome. So let's start with you because you're American, and
yes,
where were you?
I'm
Were
not
you born?
Canadian.
All right.
Yeah. So where were you born? Tell us about your childhood.
I was born in Florida, the furthest south hospital on the continent of the United States, in the Naval Hospital down in Homestead, because my dad at the time was a state trooper, and we lived in the Keys. So that was the only hospital around. So that's where I was born, way down there. Lived in Florida my whole life until I came here to Canada 10 years ago.
It must be
Wow.
freezing.
Wow. I love Florida.
My husband has been really good about keeping me warm, except for our woods encounter.
What?
You ladies may know, he's told you many times. I wanted to show you too, Ellen. I was gonna bring. There's that meme of the two dogs, and there's a real tall dog, like a Labrador kind of dog, and then there's a little tiny dog, and it's the perspective. And it asks him, how deep was the mud? And the tall dog's like, oh, it's no big deal. It's nothing at all. And the little dog's up to his neck in mud. And he's like,
That's
how
true.
I felt in the woods.
Wild.
Your
Wild.
perspective, yeah, you had a hoot.
Yeah, because I've heard DC talk about how you learn how to live off the grid.
Oh, yeah.
And
No running water, no electricity for 10 months. Yeah.
10 months.
Yeah. In the
What?
winter. In the mountains.
Wow.
In bear sanctuary.
Wow.
So
That's
it
pretty
was
courageous.
fun to kind of hear your version, versus how DC told it.
Well, I'm sure. Because my perspective is a little different.
How did that even come about, Dianne?
Well, BC has a serious housing crisis. Serious. When we first got here in 2018 to BC, because we were in Alberta first. When we first got here into BC, we were struggling as it is. And the reason we came here was because his back was so bad. Alberta was taking forever, and BC, he was from BC and still had health insurance from here because he was just living over in Alberta, and that's where we were. Well, when he came back to BC, they had said this surgery we would consider an emergency and we would get you in right away. So we're thinking, oh, so what do we do? What do we do? We're barely have a pot to piss in right now as it is, but what do you do? So anyways, we sold as much as everything we possibly could, filled a little U-Haul, got a minivan, and came over here. Anyways, 2018, got a place. Very thankful that we had it. It was good rent and everything. The housing crisis, I lost my train of thought. When we first got here, it was a 2-year waiting list for assistance for housing, especially like because my husband, he's having medical major surgery, can barely move, all this, that, other. And it was just, everything's been such a nightmare. We stayed put for nearly, I think it was about almost 2 years, the one basement suite that we were in. And we were thankful that we at least had that because it had a beautiful view and everything. But COVID, before COVID hit, he had kept saying, oh, and that's, I guess we should back up. Gosh, ladies, I'm like, just whoo.
No, but yeah.
2018, then we got to BC. We're still in that place. 2018, a friend of mine in Florida had said, there's some really crazy stuff going on. You should make a Twitter account and see what's going on. So I had made one, but didn't do anything with it because all this crap with his back, and I'm being mom and I'm being caretaker and all this other stuff and working. It was just crazy. Well, he told me, Hubs, DC, told me in 2019 after the surgery, something's going on worldwide, but I don't know what's going on, but something really big is happening. And I'm just like, oh, great. Yeah. Gee, thanks. I don't want to hear anymore. Well, our basement that we were in, the suite flooded. And we had to get out. It was sewage that came up through. It was the second time that it had happened. Big, huge ordeal with the landlords. And we were in a motel, and someone from his game said, you really need to go check this out. And we're in the hotel, and he's checking it out, and I'm reading it. And he's like, you got to come here and look at this, read this. Sorry, my camera keeps going fuzzy on me. Come and look at it. I'm looking at it in the hotel, and I'm just like, I don't know how I can handle this. Well, literally, he's like, we got to find a place to live because they're going to be kicking us out of this hotel. So we hurried and found the first place we could, another basement suite. And 2 days later, they had lockdown. And everything's all in boxes still. I mean, it was just, this is still, I, as mom, have to worry about school and grades and making sure everybody eats. And, do we all have, and the dog.
Yeah.
So my experience has been very different because I'm the mom. I'm the one that is backstage. And
yes, but everything falls on the mom. Always.
Sorry, that was long, but
no, it was great. It was a great way to start out just with that understanding, and then we're going to go back some more, and we're going to talk about how you guys met and when you were a kid. But Ornella, it's just you're always so interesting to me because you're Canadian, born a Canadian, and you're so enthusiastic, about things happening and about people in America and what's going on. And, where do you think that came from with you?
Oh, wow. Well, if you think about it, we're just human. Like where we come from, I guess having relatives from all over the world, myself, we happen to live in different places, but I'm so intrigued because we hear more about you guys than we even hear about ourselves. Like if I go on my social media on Instagram or on X, we can't even watch our news. It will say you are not allowed to watch it in Canada. So I can't get anything from us. So if I go on my X and I look up CHCH News, like our local news around here, or one from Toronto, which is a bigger city, it'll say, and I've been showing everybody I know about that. And they're like, oh, that's got to do with Meta. No, that doesn't have to do with anything. That has to do with, they don't want you to know what's going on and they want you to isolate. So for me, I'm thinking if I'm curious, and I've always been curious, and I've always asked questions. I've always, the Truman Show was number one for me. It was great. I was like, hey, we're living in the Truman Show. And, because of my personality and because of the way I am, people are very comfortable and open to say things. So it was actually pretty belittling from everybody I know. They'd look at me and they'd say, you're so cute, Orn. No, that's not happening. Are you kidding? That would be horrible. And you're like, are you kidding me? We are living in this. Like, this is really bad, this is, but they would like kind of turn around like, oh, I hope not. I hope it's not what you're thinking. Yep. Because people don't want to see. So for me, whether I'm from here in Florida, we went to Disney like so many times. Like, we love Florida. Like, I remember when me and my husband would bring our kids and they were little, I go, I could stay here forever. And, of course it was a holiday and it's a different, you're not living there. So it's different. But I think my curiosity is the States was actually a place where they were saying things that I already was on the belief of. So it's like, oh, great, these people. So then that's when I started following different people. And this has been like, I got rid of my first account on X when COVID hit because of all the censoring. But I started in 2009 and I look back, I think, wow, that's a long time ago. And because, you always think, I don't know about you guys, but I'm 55. I feel like we're still in the 90s. Like, I'm like, how are we 2025? Like, I thought we were still in the 90s, and so for me, when I look back and think 2009, that's a long time ago. So I just love the States because they're the ones coming out with the news. They're coming out with stuff that, and Boston, the Boston explosion, all that. I remember watching it going, this is not real. This is not, something's up. It's real. But if you tell people it's not real, then they think you're nuts because you're saying it's not real, but it's real. But who's doing it? That's the question.
Yeah. That's exactly it.
Right. So it's happening, but you don't know where it's coming from. Like, just like everything we've gone through for the last 5 years. Oh my God, they're so devastated. They're wondering why everyone's so sick. And it's hard. So this is so refreshing to talk to you guys.
Yes,
right?
I know.
Yes.
Yeah, it really is. We're used to talking in chat, but it is.
Exactly. Yeah.
It is.
And I think that's kind of what it's evolved is the chats. And that's why we kind of go back to the people that are in the chats, because it's not just the podcasters in front. They have their special skills. But we had amazing people, whether it was the moderators or just very active people in the community. And we were just continuing to watch it. And, DC says all the time, hey, he's got the best chat. Beer says that about his chat. I think, people are recognizing that next subset of family. It's not just the viewers, because you can look at how many people are viewing. But then look at the chat, and then you're starting to see the same names over and over again, and you're starting to recognize and put a face with the name or some kind of, that's that's Med Exam, and she's always coming in greeting everybody, and people that are new, other people are really quick about recognizing a new name coming in.
Familiarity.
They'll jump in and welcome them and bring them into the group.
And this is a great time to say, when I'm in the chat, I think people think I know more than I know. And so they'll say stuff to me and I might not respond because I'm like, oh my God, what the hell does that mean? I don't even know what that means. So sometimes I'll go back, I feel like saying, I don't really know what you're saying. But when you're chatting, sometimes you have to be careful because you don't want to come across like you're being rude. For me, I'm really showing you my ignorance. Like, no, can you explain that again? I don't even know what just happened. So I think you have to be careful. That's why this is good too, because if I do stand back with some responses, it's like, I don't even know what they just said because I'm not educated in what they're talking about, because you are from a different country and you have different laws and different things. I'm like, I don't think I ever knew what that meant. Like, I feel so embarrassed from 6 years ago that but you're raising kids, I have 3 kids, I'm married, I have my own business. So you're not really paying attention the way you wish you did. And I think that's what all these podcasters do. They make you reinvent yourself as what is really important. I need to know what's going on. What are our laws? What are, it's like you're ignorant because they made you that way. They almost don't want you asking the question.
They don't.
No,
Yeah.
that's correct.
Right. So
Yeah.
now that we can, and we have these people, and like, Tricia was saying about it's more than just the podcaster. See, the podcasters lead the way. They help us to be able, because maybe we wouldn't want to be able to do that, but you guys help us lead the way to have these conversations. Like, and like you said in the chat, you see the familiar faces, and when you don't see a familiar face, it's funny how everyone, it's like you're all family. It's like, who the hell's that? Like, oh my God, I hope they're not going to cause trouble. Like, oh my God, I hope they're not. And then they're nice and they're friendly. And you're like, okay, I think they're okay. But I'll lay low. I'll lay low until everyone else kind of says they're good,
Yeah.
So
Yeah, it is funny. We're starting, I think especially the larger a channel gets, the more trouble that they're troublemakers are going to get in the group. You got to make sure you're like, no, I'm not one of those.
Well, I've deleted, sorry, people. I have deleted. If I see that darn link in that chat, I have been instructed, delete it.
Good
Sorry,
for you.
because I've done it before. And then I find out, oh, it's so-and-so. And I'm like,
yeah, but the
sorry,
thing is, you're
I
going
didn't
on.
know.
Yeah, exactly. You're going on the safety of the chat. You're going on, you feel like saying, listen, you might be deleted, but it's because we're not sure what's going on, right?
Yeah, and
we
that
explain
happened to me
usually afterwards.
Yeah,
Right.
I remember one time I was trying to be helpful to somebody who asked about something. So I put the link in the chat when I was still kind of new to this. And then I was like very offended because it disappeared. And I was like, I'm just trying to help.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. You don't know. Yeah. And it's really important that even having these conversations to know that not to be offended by it. Like, even if someone did mean it in a mean way, you can't get offended anyway, because that ends up making us like everybody else. Because this is why, I said, I called into Dave's show recently and I said, people want peace in the world. I go, we don't get along with our families. Are you kidding? So really, we got to learn how to just not be so sensitive. And I am very sensitive, but I've had to learn through these podcasts. It's actually made me have a little bit more of a, thicker skin and say, you know what, people don't know you. It's okay. If they don't say that, they don't know, because where your intentions are, but you don't know where everyone else's are, right?
And things come across way different on the text versus
it's true.
if you're face to face with somebody.
Absolutely.
It does.
Yeah. So apologies to anybody if I'm not answering you. It's because I don't know what you're talking about. Right.
And so are you two on completely different ends of Canada?
Yeah.
East Coast and West Coast.
Yeah. I'm close to like Toronto, where Toronto is.
Yeah.
All the concerts and everything happens. Like, I'm like 45 minutes away from there. And Niagara Falls. I'm in the middle of Niagara Falls and Toronto.
So near New York.
She's in the beautiful part of Canada. Like, we have beautiful part. Canada is just beautiful, but she's in a really beautiful part of Canada.
And she couldn't have gone further away from one corner to the other.
Yeah.
It is
one down here to whoop over here.
Yep.
It's a long drive.
Dianne, so being in Canada from being in the United States and being an American, was besides you just having to maintain your life and being a mom and being a wife and all that and surviving, could you look around you? Was what you saw around you different? Were things different? Are the people different?
The people, you don't think it, we're all family and we all speak the same, we look the same, we act the same, we're polite, whatever. But yes, moving up here to Canada, there was so many things I would ask my husband. I'm like, you mean to tell me in British Columbia, the hospitals are owned and run by the government and their car insurance is owned and run by the government? You don't see a conflict of interest there?
Yeah.
All sorts of things. But it's because I'm born and bred, you're free. You're an American. We don't bow, we don't to anybody. And our patriotism, it's freedom. And I can remember as a kid always hearing that socialism was just one step to communism. But when I came to Canada, I was just like, no, socialist country. No, we respect the people and we know that they have needs and we need to be able to take care of them as a civil society. And I'm just thinking, okay, buddy. And that was 2015.
Uh, wow. Yeah.
It's very different. And like I said too, with COVID and all our restrictions and all of our lockdowns, and BC had it longer than the other provinces. And here, Florida, there was nothing. It was just like a little hiccup
Yeah.
for them. And the
Yeah.
same thing, one of you guys said that yeah, when you would talk to people, especially like my family, they didn't want to hear any of it. And I'm like, are you kidding me? They're locking us in. They're telling us we can't leave. We're not allowed to go to the restaurants. We're not allowed to go to movie theaters, nowhere. And it was just, the other thing too was, I know DC has told you guys we tried to get over the border in 2020 when it happened, because he had his God moment. I didn't trust him at the time. And when he said it, I was just like, no, no. But he was on his knees in the kitchen begging me, we have to go now. We have to go now. And I was just like, you're crazy. You're crazy. It's that big of a deal. I'm like, no, no.
I'm getting goosebumps because I know
Yeah.
that feeling.
Yep. And when we got there and they turned us around, and he's just about fuming in the car with me, because he said, the border agent told me if we had been here 2 days before, he would have let us through.
Oh.
I was just like, as I'm driving, going, what the fuck did we just do? What did we just do? And then calling family, and they're just like, what are you talking about? What are you talking about? Like, nothing's going on. Oh, and then I got it's your choice. You didn't get over the border because it's your choice. And I was like, no, no. I got kicked off of X because I must have said something wrong.
Yeah. Right.
I'm just like,
And millions.
oh my gosh. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
no
it's been
kidding.
crazy here in Canada. Crazy.
Yeah. And so on your side of Canada, Ornella, how about for you?
Oh my
I
Bad.
God.
mean, you're a Canadian born and bred, you know, there. So you,
What a
but
shit
you're,
show.
Yeah. I feel for
It was
you. I feel
bad.
for you.
It was so bad. Like, oh, you know, I really sometimes like I love watching your show and all the interviews because we do need to remember where we're coming from. Like, you know, everyone can make it look like we're talking some kind of talk that was never existing. No, no, we couldn't go to the grocery store because we didn't have papers. We weren't allowed. We were allowed in our malls. My daughter worked in the mall part-time, and I wasn't allowed. I was allowed to grab my coffee, but I wasn't allowed to cross this rope because I didn't have my freaking papers. Like it was sad. It was ostracizing to no end. You go to the grocery store. Like I didn't wear anything for a long time unless I really had to. So then we'd pick up side curb groceries. Like they still have it now
Oh, yeah.
that you can order your groceries and you can pick it up in the parking lot, because if people were, let's say, on the fence about isolating themselves and depression, they put them right over the edge now they're comforted in their homes, and now they can just go pick up their groceries on the side. It is so disgusting. The arrows that they put, did you guys have this in the States? Like
Yeah.
all across,
yeah.
like
And
6 feet?
Boy, they sure were ready pretty fast too, weren't they?
They were there immediately. And I'm like, what's going on here? I didn't wear a mask. Everyone's like, I had clients say to me, you aren't going to do this to protect me. I'm like, what? Get out.
Mhm.
Like, what do you mean?
Yeah.
Why are you making me feel like I'm doing something wrong? I'm going in. If I'm taking a risk and not wearing this, you should see people had, what do they call those, hazard masks?
Yep.
I'm like,
Hazmat.
what are we doing? Like, what's going on? Gloves, masks, like you couldn't see people's eyes. It was horrible. And you know what that's from? Even the 6 feet. I told everyone, I go, keeping us 6 feet apart makes you not talk to me. That's what that was for. That had nothing to do with the COVID. That had to do with, you don't want us to have a conversation. Okay. That's why they get rid of you on X. That's why, because she might have said something that might trigger a thought for someone to say, why did she say that? What is she talking about? Because people were in the dark, because some people put themselves there. Let's face it, they're afraid. Other people, I'm like, where do we live? Like, is this really happening? We didn't go out of our house. They said, stay in the house. You can't get the sun. The sun will be brutal with COVID.
I know.
So you know where I sat? I sat right in the middle of my driveway with my computer and my phone, and I watched everything I could. And everyone's like, Orrin, you know, are you kidding? I go, if they tell you what not to do, you do the opposite.
Yeah.
It was disgusting. And I feel bad for Dianne, because when you're not even from here, you're like, oh my God, okay, what's
I
going
just
on?
wanted to go
would have been
home.
yeah. I
Get
can't
me the hell
imagine.
out of here.
Yes, I can't imagine the trap people were in different circumstances where they were this close to being home and they couldn't. Like, it was so bad. Like, it was so bad. So when people say, let's just forget about it, put it under the carpet, and I'm like, oh, no, 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 no. I'm not going to say I'm right and you're wrong, but I'm not putting it under the carpet. This is what makes us who we
Yeah.
are. It
We
needs to be
can't, because
talked
we
about.
can't let it happen again.
Exactly.
I don't want this to ever happen to my grandchildren or great grandchildren or great great grandchildren. If that's nope. I couldn't believe I told I put the Jewish star and put "lest we forget" on my mask and would walk around. I'd be like, "Yeah, you want me to wear my Jewish star? That's right. That's right. I don't have my papers."
I know. It's terrible.
Like,
Let me ask
What were
y'all
you
a
saying?
question, because this is just still a head scratcher for me. So, depending on where you are and whatever you believe about COVID, there's a lot of people that don't believe it was much. There's a lot of people that think, well, it was something, but it just got amplified. Whether it came from, where I'm going is, where's the outrage? Where's I think we know we're getting to the point where that was kind of a shit show and it was kind of unnecessary. But if this virus, whether you believe it was in a lab and it accidentally escaped or whether it was done deliberate, there should be outrage either
Of
way.
course.
As
Yeah.
never letting this happen again, and look at all of the lives that were affected. There's no outrage.
The thing is, if we're believing what we believe, people think that we didn't believe it happened. I tell everyone, it's happening. It's real. But you guys aren't asking, why did it happen? How did it happen? It's not that it's not real. Are people dying? I don't know. Did they have other issues? And then even a bad flu could kill you. Like, the thing is, we've had so much death around us. I can't even go there. And I know people that unfortunately work in cemeteries and funerals and stillborns at full term. And they can't believe these poor people have to leave their jobs because they can't handle all the death that's coming in.
Yeah, I
So,
don't.
so the thing is, if they're being from something they've taken, or the way they were processed through the hospital, because there's a whole other thing there too with I don't know if it happened. I know I heard it in the States, and I know that it happened here, like 13 grand for each person that came in with COVID.
Yes.
And 38 grand for the ones that exited because of COVID. Like,
yeah, we had the same program.
Right? So you just think to yourself, really? Like, this is a real thing. So I tell people, no. They say, Orrin, what do you mean you don't believe that COVID really happened? No, I believe it happened. But why did it happen? It was put on us because we are built to fight everything, but they don't want us. They want us weaker and weaker here, everywhere. And you know what? I don't know why we're the way we are. I don't know why we think the way we do, but we do. And like you said, and like you said too, Dianne, the thing is, it can't happen again. And unfortunately, what do they nab us all with, Ellen? Fear.
Yes.
Fear is, oh my God,
course.
but what if my grandmother does die? What if my uncle, oh my God, he's in a home now. So they nab you at the worst possible. And then all the people that didn't get to see family because they weren't on the
Right.
same.
It's bad.
Like, can you imagine knowing, it
was
to
bad.
me, yeah, it was bad. Yeah. If you weren't mental already, it would definitely, like, I thank God every day. I don't know what makes me think and what gives me strength, but I have found my peace through COVID. I am more peaceful. It's
Yep.
like, what do we can only trust in where we came from and what we believe in, because really I have this peace. And people say, well, aren't you afraid? And I'll say, of what? I'm afraid that people are still believing it. That's what I'm afraid of. It's very hard. And I feel very sorry for Dianne, because the thing is, yeah, we were in this shit show here and we thought it was going on everywhere. That's another thing. I have clients that traveled everywhere. I would say to them, because they knew me and they respected me. So I would say, listen, can you see if this is going on? They're like, Orrin, we see nothing of this. How? If it's worldwide, how? So, they know how to close it off for people. People don't get invested. They're not showing us our groups of people because we are bigger than they want you to believe.
Tam coming out, you made me think of her. She came out and said, You cannot boost your immune system. And are you kidding me? I've been raised my whole life. That's all we've ever heard. Your vitamin C's, you got to get your
Yes.
sunlight, you got to get your
Yes.
exercise.
Of
You can boost
course.
that immune. Oh no, not during COVID. Oh, during
Yeah.
COVID in Canada. Oh no. Oh no.
Yeah.
She was brutal. Did you see that Christmas song she came out with?
No.
No.
It
I
was
had such a
terrible.
hard time watching her because I just felt like, ooh, demon. There's a demon.
You're right.
Oh my
Oh
God.
no,
I
they were
knew
getting
right away. I knew right away. That was one of my feathers in my cap is a certified medical billing coder. So the first thing that I did is I went and looked up the code. And I'm
good for
like
you.
showing DC, I'm like, look, the code, it's right under the flu. It's like the flu. It's not in another category of like biohazards or anything. It's under the flu. You have a higher chance of catching SARS in the hospital than this thing. That's how it's nestled in this huge thing. And yeah,
Wow.
people just don't believe you.
It's what
I know.
Tricia said. It's all head scratching. You know, all of this is head scratching, all of it.
It is, but you know what I think? I think that Ornella, to your point, we've all been through this process now for years, and we do have a sense of peace about
Oh,
us
thank
because
God.
the outrage that Trisha's talking about is going to be coming to the normal people. So
Yeah,
we have to be set in place
Strong.
ahead of time, peacefully, with a strong faith,
100%.
because we're the ones that are gonna have to calm them actually when
absolutely.
it's undeniable as
It's
to
so
what
true.
has been happening.
We think it's
So
coming, right?
we are.
Right?
I mean,
Hubs
yes.
explained something the other night on his show, and I had to re-explain it to some of my girlfriends because and when I did, it made a lot more sense to them. That Overton window, it's all this crazy information that's coming, and I told him, I said it's similar to like a rubber band. If you go to put that rubber band around something big right away, you've got a high chance that it's just going to snap. But if you sit there and you work with it and here I'm doing nodding
Wow.
things to my hands, but if you play with it and stretch it and you get it pliable, it's pliable, then it'll easily stretch around something large. And that's what I thought of with all this
That's a
information.
great.
As
I know,
crazy
yeah.
of all of it as it is, that's what has to happen, or these people will snap because it's just
You're
Yes.
right.
so much. It's too much. And I was thinking you had said fear. No, that's what I dove into. That's what I decided in 2021. We were not getting out of this without divine intervention. There was too many.
Mhm.
At the time, we had to get out of that basement suite, and the only place we wound up finding was this crack motel. I'm so sorry, but it was there. It was so bad. It was like a 1-star seedy hotel. It's all we could find.
Pay
with
by the
what we
hour.
could afford. Oh, I made them stop that. I told them no. I said, if I'm living here and you got other families living here, you are not doing this shady shit. They can take their shenanigans and go.
Good for you.
Wow, good for
I was
her.
constantly DC wound up like managing the place, and I did the laundry and would sit on
Wow.
our balcony, and we'd have homeless and junkies constantly coming in, and I'd be like, nope, get out. Get out. You got families and little kids here. Get out. Get off the property. And that's what I feel like I did.
Good for her. Wow.
But it was so bad. I don't know if you've heard his stories of how many times he freaking had to assist people with the Narcan. And that was the thing too, is we thought for sure that when lockdown happened, the drugs, it would clear up. People would start sobering, and because it wouldn't happen. But when I was sitting in that hotel and I'm watching that corner and these drug addicts are all hunched over, I don't know if you guys have ever seen them, but if you've ever seen them in real life,
Sad.
it's absolutely heartbreaking. They're completely at nearly a 90-degree angle, hunched over, and they constantly are looking for their stuff in the ground or picking stuff up off the ground. But they're so hunched over because the drugs that they're taking are leaching the serotonin out of their spine, and it's hunching them over. And
How is that why?
I just thought to myself, God is the only thing. There is
Mhm.
no one man that is going to get us
Right.
out of this. These people, there's no way. There is no way. So I had my ball out moment, because this was probably my second one, and I don't know how I've it was a mess here in Canada. And
maybe that's why you were here, really to explain to
Yeah.
other people, because you're not from the
Yeah.
Canada. So you can
my
say, listen,
girlfriend say that.
right? Like they're not lying. Like it was
No.
a shit show. Like it's yeah. It was very bad.
365 times in the Bible is what I was going to tell you. Be not afraid.
Yes,
That's
I know. I
right.
love it.
I actually love that. That is like a very, like, everybody goes through their own thing, and you're kind of like, why? And I think the Q movement is bringing more and more people to God. And in hindsight, when we look back about why it is that we went through and we learn, I love, how Abs puts it. He's like, I welcome the challenges now that God puts, before me,
Mhm.
because it's for a reason. And I know that God loves me and that he has a reason for that. And it really does get you thinking about the things that happen to you instead of victimhood. It's
Right.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
No
yeah.
time for victim.
Well,
like,
I'm 100%. I believe 100% that God had brought me to DC, and he was the reason. God was the reason that I married him. I took the leap and took the leap. It was
Literally, yeah.
God. And I kept saying that. And of course, we had so much shit flying our way in the beginning of our relationship. 9 months into us getting here, his appendix ruptured. I mean, it was just, yeah, it's been crazy. But what
Yeah.
doesn't kill you makes you stronger.
Makes you strong.
And
It
oh my
does.
gosh, yeah.
Well, exactly. So strong. All right, so now
Right.
I want to
Yeah.
change direction a little bit, just to do something fun. I want to start with you, Diane. When you were a kid, you sent me a
Oh,
picture. This is so sweet. Who is that? Where are you?
I'm the smallest one, of course.
oh,
That would have been
Oh,
probably an Easter. That's in Florida. That's me, my sister, and my mom. Probably
Well, she's got her mom's smile.
she does.
70s, 80s, somewhere around in there.
oh, too sweet. And then tell us about this
Oh,
picture.
yeah.
You have
I didn't know.
you,
She's like, give me pictures. And I'm like, I don't know what to send you, but I know my mother always liked this picture of me because it has a story. And at the time, again, my dad was a state trooper, and we were in an apartment complex. And I don't know how it started, but this is where I learned life is not fair. A line of boys on one side, a line of little girls on the other side, and we were just throwing little things. I was the smallest out of everybody, and I'm just, what's everybody doing? And as soon as I pretty much get there, this 16-year-old boy on the other side was telling the other small little boys, no, this is how you do it. Whoosh, and just chucked it. And who got pegged? I did. 4
oh,
years old. My eye
What a
was
thing.
huge, bleeding everywhere. My sister and her friend were, oh, ran me up the stairs to our parents and everything, and had to get stitches. But yeah, that was my
oh,
first. Life
wow.
is not fair, because my dad took me. All the kids scattered. Everybody went running, and my dad dressed in his full freaking uniform and went and
Ooh.
knocked on the door of the woman that had the boy, the mother of the boy, and took me along. And I'm just, okay, I'll whatever. And he's like, that boy, he knocked on the door, and he said, your son needs to apologize. Look at what he did. Look at what he did. And she would only crack the door a little bit. She wouldn't do anything. She's like, no, he didn't know. No. And he's like, no, I want you to look at her. And he shoved me. I remember the door. I'm like, oh.
Aw.
But yeah, and that kid, nope, that lady shut the door and we left. And yeah, life
Wow.
is not fair.
He grew up to be a
Yeah.
politician. He grew up to be a politician, right?
Yeah.
Hiding behind his mama.
So sweet. And
Oh,
where is this? Who are you with?
that's my cousin. She was my best friend. That's why I sent you the other one. There's one with us in swimsuits. And it's like the first picture that I had when you asked me to go and grab photos. So I went and grabbed that one. And both of us are tiny. There it is.
That's this one.
Oh,
That's the same people.
That's
Aw.
cute.
She's my first
Two
best friend. That's one of my cousins. We had 23. My grandma had grandkids. And
Wow.
Melody was my best friend growing up, and that was me in graduation with her at the same time. Because I thought, there you go. I was thinking too, look at how tan we were as little babies
Yeah.
Playing
This
outside all
is
day.
playing
that's
outside.
so sweet.
In the dangerous sunshine, right?
Mm-hmm.
But that's
Okay, Ornella,
graduation.
I have to show this. A couple of your kid pictures just crack me up, Ornella. So this one with your little dress and your little
Yep.
with your
Now my mom's
Digging her.
standing next to me. The reason I didn't really put anyone else, unfortunately, this happened just before COVID, but I'm not speaking to two of my siblings. That they're my only two. But there's a picture. It's me, my mom, and my siblings. But my mom's got a black short dress, because someone had died in Italy, and that's what we do. We mourn. She was wearing it. It was so hiked up. It was like it's up to here. Her dress is so short, but as long as they wore black, it was okay. But anyway, so yeah, a lot of my stuff it was probably hand-me-downs from my sister. So a lot of times it would fit me just that little bit shorter. And I was quite the tomboy and didn't really want to dress up. I have pictures like that of me exactly with my tongue sticking out. So that's me. I'm thinking 4 or 5.
yeah,
You
well, the
look
orange dress, I had to include this one because it looks
Oh,
like
the
you
orange.
talk about
Oh yeah.
short. Look
Yeah,
at
that's me. No laces. Yeah, that was us taking a picture with neighbors that lived right next door to us. And the lady that's behind me, she had her last baby at 45, who was a good friend of mine. She's 3 years younger than me. And that's another thing. Neighbors. Wow. I loved being with my neighbors. Like my mom and this woman, at night, we'd all get our pajamas on and we'd be on the porch. And my mom and this woman, who was a little bit older than my mom, would race up and down the street, and we'd be laughing as kids. We had so much fun. So much
I
fun.
know that.
Right?
I know those days when we really had
Simple.
that freedom.
Yeah.
Exactly. So
Yep.
you gave me 2 pictures that look similar, but one you had big, full, thick hair. This one is
That's my
big.
curly hair. That's usually my curly hair. I'll smooth it out once in a while. That's I think grade 9 or 10, and I have my uniform on for Catholic high school. Yeah. Oh
Oh,
yeah, that's a great picture.
That's
But
I
great.
then
had
you cut it
Catholic
off.
high school too.
Cut it all off. I used to cut my hair off. Like I was one of those ones that, my hair would be down because they used combs just to comb our hair. Like you couldn't get a brush for your kid. I remember the pain. So I would do it periodically. Every couple of years, I'd say, cut it all off. So I think that's grade 9, actually. So yeah, I'm
Yeah.
13,
And then
13 or 14.
you went for the super long.
Yep, I'm probably around 16, 17 there. And yeah, look at all our furniture and stuff, eh? That would probably be 1987. That's probably 1986, 87. Yeah.
Oh,
The
it's too
blouses and the
cute.
long skirt and the little pumps that I couldn't get my toes in now, that's for sure. Right? I need square toe now.
That's
But
too
yeah,
funny. That's
that's me
yeah,
there
you've been
too.
and so Diane, I love this black and white picture that you sent. This
Oh,
one is so
I forgot
sweet.
about that one.
Tell me about that
That's so
picture.
sweet.
That one's pretty private, but that was the first one that I could think of. I literally had to go and dig for all the other ones because we still have stuff in boxes. We're in a little tiny place now, but that's one of them that I still had framed that I'd put out. And I was like, this is one of our first. It was a bad week. We'll just put it that way. And I finally got to see him. And yeah, I was like,
Oh,
thank God you're back.
oh,
That's nice.
too sweet. And then
I
this
forgot
other
about
one
that.
too. Yeah, but then this other one, what's the story
Oh,
on that one?
BC wildfires. It was like about 2 p.m. in the afternoon, and we were having the wildfires just so bad that the air is so thick with smoke and ash just falling down, and your skin gets oily because there's so much in the air. And this was like about 2 o'clock in the afternoon. We were working in that motel. It's a real old, like 1950s motel. And this was out in the back, and there's a creek that runs and a bunch of willow trees. So it's down. And going down toward that creek in the summertime with all that and the trees helped with all the stuff falling. And it felt like the air was fresher So we went down there. That is no filter, nothing. That's how orange everything was. It was
Wow.
wild.
No,
That's terrible.
that, that
Those were the
is
fires that they wouldn't allow
Oh my God.
retired firefighters to go in and help because they said, oh, no, there's no place for you. They're like, you guys are doing it all wrong because they were apparently started fires. So,
Yeah, they were starting it. And the sad thing and the scary thing, any Canadian should know that these older home facilities, because I was working in one during COVID and I had to quit because they wanted vaccination and I'd said no. But I was in this picture, I was still there working there. And they had, if you've got floors on your elderly facilities, just know that if there's fire season around, you have a very small chance of getting all your patients out.
wow.
Just saying,
wow.
that's reality.
Yeah, that is
Sad.
wild. Okay, Ornella, this is you wedding day.
That's
I had
my
a
wedding
basket like that.
day. Well, you know what? Our photographer, that basket was full of buns for my wedding party.
Cute.
And the photographer said, do you want to throw it in? I said, sure, bring it on in. So I'm 22 there and my husband's 30. And yeah, that was a good day.
Aw.
Oh,
Yeah.
so pretty. And then
Thank you.
your
Oh,
baby.
That's my
baby.
first baby. And I just sent that picture to my son because he just had his second baby. And I said, this looks like my new grandson. And I think my
Oh,
son is probably maybe 3 weeks old there.
cute.
Oh, I know. It's so crazy. So crazy.
Time.
Time flies.
Yeah,
Yes, that's what I
time
was just
flies.
going to say. This past 5 years, where did it
Well,
go?
I'm going to tell you, it's true, but I'm going to tell you about
I'm having one of those.
fast.
Ornella.
The hot flash I had earlier. Yeah. I'm going to tell you something. Everyone says time goes by fast. Okay. And unfortunately, we live in a world where there's so many expectations of us and we're go, 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 go. I made sure to live and watch what I really wasn't a fan of being a new mom. Everyone knew I had my shit together so I could do it. And I was great. And of course, it's not the kids' fault. They're born, you're taking care of things. I like them when they're 18 months and older. When they're babies, it's like, everyone's like, oh, just play with them. I go, they can't even focus on my face. And I was 24 when I had my first. Anyway, they say time goes by fast, but when you're in it, it is turtle pace slow.
So I was saying for that.
Right?
The days are long, but the
Oh,
years are short.
That's actually really true. And the thing is, I would never, you're never going to regret doing too much,
Nope.
but you will regret doing too little. And it's no one's fault because, people work 9 to 5, whatever your situation may be. But we slept with our kids. We had them in bed with us. Like if they're not sleeping in their crib or wherever, I'm like, no, you got to get in. I got to go to work. So I'm grateful. And my son seems to be doing that too, which they used to make fun of you as a parent before. And now they're doing the same thing you're doing. Right. So I love that. He goes, you know what I think, Mommy? I think I'm going to go get a king size bed now. And I said, okay, yeah. Because you want to keep them close. This is why, and not to go back, but this is why this is so important because it's about the children. And this is what got me on this road.
Yeah. That's what I was the kids.
Right. So
I
the thing is,
they were children. He was 15 when all this started.
Wow. That's
14,
crazy.
14.
Right.
So, yeah.
Yeah. No. So this is about children. Like, pick on your own size. Like, this isn't, and I think that's what they say. The children are what going to bring everyone together. And I believe that to be true. So yeah, so time does go by fast. And yeah, like you said, 5 years, you think about where we came from. I could say, oh, that was just, oh my God, we went through this, we went through this, we went through, right? And I don't know if everyone else kind of looks at it the way we do because we have so many heartaches about what we've learned through all of us, right? You guys have been amazing, bringing us so many things. And it's hard. I think people have to realize we're coming this far and having these conversations, but it's not that we're untouchable. Like we've been hurt too, because now people are going to look at us like, well, what made you? I've had people say to me, I'm so jealous that, you didn't get a shot or whatever. And I go, don't be jealous. I said, take care of yourself, love yourself, have a belief that you're bigger than this. We are huge manifestors. So create that you don't see yourself with anything that's wrong. And, that's like you said earlier, Ellen, we're going to be here to help these people. And, I don't know what makes us the way we are, but let's just be
Right.
grateful that there are people that, and maybe with me too, I see things a certain way, but one of you guys are telling me something today that's going to make me that little bit better. Like,
Seed.
that's
Right.
what it should be. Exactly. It should be like that. We're all giving to each other. So, and it's not like we've
Absolutely.
all come from better places. Like when I look at my childhood, like really, if someone asked me, I had a great childhood, but we had so many obstacles, losing a parent when I was a little kid and to cancer. And, that can spring up some things now too, because you can say, did he need to? Did he really need to die at 45? So there's all those things, but I'd like to tell people, you're right. You can be mad, but we can't change it. So let's just move forward in the best way we can, because I don't look back. I don't think poor me or what if or whatever. You can't do that. You have to
Nope.
just keep going forward. It's hard,
Yes.
but you need to do it. And
It
I
is
know it's
hard.
hard. Yeah.
Because can you imagine everyone's going to have their what if? What if a son
Oh,
going to war, or
oh,
a child having autism? I mean, everybody is going to have their moments where we have been duped by pretty much everything, and
Everything.
that's a hard pill to swallow. It's
Very.
really hard.
yep.
And so Dianne, when did you start questioning things happening in the world before you met DC? I mean,
Oh yeah.
how
Oh
yeah.
yeah. I've been awake, I would say, pretty much my whole life. But I had really started hearing about the political side of it when I was 17 in the 90s, and I heard Rush Limbaugh for the first time.
I
And
love
we had the gentleman I was with at the time, my children's husband, he listened to Rush Limbaugh all the time, so much so that my kids would go around and they'd hum his theme song, and I'm like, oh shit, we really listen to this a lot.
Yes, me
So
too.
I would get though infuriated with the information that he'd present, and then I'd see it, and then I was like, why isn't anybody doing anything? So I had to remove myself from that. All I've ever known and I've ever wanted to be was a mom. And I was like, no, I cannot focus on this crazy that was like the president too at the time. I remember watching Clinton lie in the camera. I did not have sexual relations with that woman. And I can
Yeah.
remember telling my mom then, if the president of the United States can lie, it's fair game for anybody. Your doctors then
Yeah.
can lie. Your judges can lie, because the president of the United States just came on television and lied. We all know
Yeah.
he lied.
That's great that you actually even thought that. That's the thinking in you. Like, someone might just let that pass by, but that's good that you even thought that, because you're right. If someone like that we look towards for whatever information and they're lying, well, good luck.
Yep. Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
And so when DC and I, that was one of the reasons we got together, is because we both would talk about the crazy stuff that was happening, and nobody else cared. Either they didn't care or they didn't want to talk about it. And we were the only ones, and because we were like, what is going on? What is going on? And the reason I even moved to Canada to begin with was Florida at the time was shit. I went through that housing huge, what is it, the kerfuffle or whatever, in regards to 2008 and 2009, when everybody was losing
The
their homes.
crash. Yeah.
NASA
Oh,
lost, my county lost 8,000 employees overnight from NASA. I was
Wow.
competing for jobs at like Wendy's with people with master's degrees, because they had nowhere to go either. Lost
wow.
my home, everything. It's been a mess. But anyways, with DC, we saw how evil and bad Hillary Clinton was. And we
Mhm.
thought for sure if she gets in, it's not going to be good. It is not going to be good. So we had weighed, we move to Florida? Do we move up to Canada? And at the time he was working in the oil field, doing really well. We were like, and he's like, nope, we're coming up here. Because as he said before, if we ever had to hide out or whatever, I'd be able to take, I've had the kids and we'd go in the woods, and because we just felt very much something was happening. So as soon
And
Yeah.
as
it really got
kind
to that point where you have to think of those things. Like, how sad
yeah,
that it even got to that.
Well, that was another point of why we went to the woods too, is the situation, the housing situation that we were in that motel was so bad. It's, do you stay here and keep doing this stuff, or do you take a chance and go do that? It's
Yeah.
bad
I mean,
here. It's bad. So
yeah, those are tough decisions for
I
sure.
forgot where we were going with that though. I got off topic. Husbands is back.
No, that was good because it was when you started to wake up with
Wake
things,
up.
Oh,
but you've
waking
been
up.
there
Yeah.
for a long
Always.
time.
Yeah.
What
And when
about
he
you,
got,
Ornella?
oh, sorry.
Go ahead, Diane, finish up. You said when he what?
When he found the Q stuff and he's like, come here, you got to
Yeah.
start reading this stuff. And I just put the glasses on and started reading everything line by line, all of it. And I also know how to code. So computer coding.
Good for
So
you.
when I was looking at it, I'm like, this is code. This is like coding stuff. And so I knew that right away. And then I was like, well, just start reading it. And then the questions and everything about it, I was like, I knew it.
Mm-hmm.
So it
Right.
wasn't much.
Wow.
Of course, he's going, yeah, this is because of this. And he filled in a ton of gaps, obviously, a bunch of information that I didn't have. But as soon as he's reading it and he's like, yeah, and I'm reading it, and I'm just like, I knew it. I knew those sons of bitches had been bad from the beginning. I couldn't even watch an Obama speech. I did
I
not
know.
vote for
Yeah.
him. I didn't know. Granted, my family could have, because obviously I didn't know them as well as I thought I did come COVID, but never even could watch Obama. He, something about him, I couldn't even watch him. And I knew that was actually the last time I voted, was during that election. Sorry, Trump. I was up here and we couldn't get down. I couldn't vote
Right.
for you. And I said, if God got him in the first time, God will get him in the second time.
Yeah.
But I
Most
did send
definitely.
2 children down there and they both voted.
Oh,
And the
excellent.
third.
That
And the
works.
third.
2 new voters.
Yeah. That's so awesome. And so Ornella, when did because you crack me up so much because you're so passionate and you're funny and all of that. When did you really question things, and were you the only one in your family? I mean,
Right.
how long ago did that happen?
So, okay. So I'll give you a quick synopsis of this. So ever since I was little, I'm talking 3, 4 years old, I would start telling my mom, I hear things like someone's talking to me and whatever. If you're Italian and you say that, someone will give you a backhand and say, I don't want to hear this again. My mom wasn't like that, surprisingly, even though we're not always on the same page. She supported it and said, it's okay. Don't worry about it. So the element that I'm going to bring in here, which I know some of the podcasters, about prophets or, any kind of psychic ability or mediumship or whatever. So when I was really little, I always questioned things, like ever since then. And then when my dad was dying, I told my mom he's going to die. And I pictured his entire funeral, and his entire funeral came out the way I pictured it. And my mom would say to me, he's not going to die. He's not going to die. Again, support. I got a lot of support. I had a lot of visions about different things that were going to happen, and they would happen. And of course, then you go through life and you're a teenager and you have to work. Like since we were 13, we always had part-time jobs because my mom was a single parent. Me, on the other hand, I never wanted to have children. I never wanted to get married. And I think when I look back now, it's probably because my mom was a widow at 36 with 3 kids under the age of 13. And so I always thought, well, what if that happens to me? But I remember then when I met my husband, it was funny because my 2 Long Island medium sisters, they're the psychic sisters, Linda and Jolene. I became very close with them through a different person. And she says, I hope you don't get any credit. You don't take any credit for meeting John. She goes, because your dad sent him to you. And for me, because I'm already believing in that kind of thing, I knew that had to be true, because I really had no interest in getting married or kids. And here we are, like 37 years later, 3 children, grandchildren, and me and my husband, you were saying with DC, because he does the podcast, me and my husband, we actually, it's a big joke in our house. We really don't agree on one thing. Like that's the biggest joke, but we respect each other. And he believes in a lot of my psychic stuff because he's had firsthand experience because of my friends and because of whatever. And he'll believe in that stuff. But my whole life, like right from when I was little, like, something's wrong, something's weird. And And when I was on Instagram once, my daughter was in university at the time, and she says, Mom, do you know you're on live? And this guy who is into all the stuff I'm into, his name is Panache Desai. He ends up messaging me and he says, oh, hello. And I'm like, hello. And I'm like live on Instagram, not knowing this is happening. And I'm like, he goes, I'm here to, take any of your questions. I go, about what? Then he starts bringing through my dad. Why this? Why that? I'm like, okay, this guy knows me, but doesn't know me. And then he told me, what we're talking, like how we're talking right now, very openly and freely and whatever. I said, no, I believe in what I'm saying. He goes, you have a good talk. He goes, but you don't believe in it. And I thought, wow, okay, now I'm questioning myself completely. Do I really think what I think? Do I believe what I believe? He was just trying to say to me that I never felt connected to this world. Now, I'll go back when I was little. When I was little, and I had a pretty great childhood considering, my dad had 7 years of cancer treatments, people coming over to beat him on the back to get phlegm up. Like it was very hard and sad. But my mom was very funny, and we had a lot of great times. I have great cousins, whatever, but it was devastating, and you can definitely have PTSD over that. But going back to there, I remember being a little kid saying to God, why did you bring me here? So he told me, when I said to him, he goes, is there something I can help? I go, I always felt like I was abandoned. I said, is that because my dad died when I was so young? He goes, oh, you don't feel abandoned by your father. He said, you feel abandoned by Christ. My daughter's texting me vicious. She's like, Mom, do you know you're online? I can't message her. And I'm like, I didn't even see her messages till I got home. And she goes, Mom, I was trying to tell you that you were, and I was bawling. And he says, I'm here to connect you. He goes, I know you believe that you think you believe in what you believe in, but you don't. Anyway, I knew him to be true. I do remember having very close, and I know you talk a lot on your shows about your connection to Christ. I stopped going to church 14 years ago. I believe in God as much as I can believe in him, because I don't believe in the way it's done there, but he's part of my whole day. Like he's everything. He's everything with me. And when that guy did that for me like 8-9 years ago, it was so bizarre because I ended up thinking I knew what I knew before, but it almost opened a way. It almost prepared me for what's going on now. So then let's go back 7 years just before COVID hit. And I had a premonition, and my clients would always be afraid of my premonitions. And I said, I think something really big and bad's coming. And they said, what do you mean? I said, I have no clue. I said, but I just know it's big and bad. And they're like, do you think it's going to be okay? And I said, I don't know. But I said, don't be afraid. We don't know. So don't be afraid. But I was really just, because I've had clients for 34 years. So I'm very open and they trust me and whatever. And then when COVID hit, and I thought, I wasn't really shocked. I hated that I wasn't shocked. I hated that I didn't feel surprised about what was going on. I thought, this is it. And so then I was isolated. We couldn't work. And some of my clients said, could you do my hair in your garage? And they would ask me, do you remember what you said to us about what was going on? I said, yeah. They go, do you think we're over the bad part now? And I said, no, I don't. The one thing I do remember, and did you guys ever see the movie with Ryan Reynolds, Free Guy?
Oh, yes, several
Video
times.
game? It's about a video game? Okay. Well, that actually validated a lot of my things. So when I told my clients about this premonition I had, I said, when it's over, it is going to, and it's so weird because then when I started meeting the podcasters and started watching all these shows, this is what they were trying to say that's going to happen. I said, it's going to be so good. You guys aren't going to recognize it. They're like, when? And I'm like, I have no clue, but and I still feel this. And I think that's where my peace came from. It is going to be so unrecognizable. Well, at the end of Free Guy, the one coworker with him, he says, so where do we go now? And Ryan Reynolds goes, anywhere we want. And that's when I saw that, I said to my kids, like my kids, they all know what I believe in and whatever. And my husband doesn't really ask that many questions, but he's very supportive. Like I said, he's so good. He's so laid back, lets me be me because I think he's afraid of me anyway. But he'll say, I'll say, Cuckoo, I said, it's going to be great. And he goes, okay. He goes, well, I hope so. He goes, what are you going to do? But I'm here to say, I don't know what's right or wrong, but I'm not a fear monger. I don't want to create more fear, but I'm going to tell you guys, if people are really going to embrace without fear We can get to where we need to be a lot quicker if we can eliminate fear. And fear is a big one. Because I always used to joke, being Italian, I said, I think fear is one of my genes because I was scared shitless of everything. We were key latch kids. We had to go home for lunch by ourselves. My mom would say, make sure the stove's off. Make sure you don't see strangers outside. We'd see someone outside. We didn't go to school. We had to get late slips. Then we're like, oh my God, we're going to get in trouble. Like we were afraid of everything. Like, you know, we had to be tough. We had to be tough kids. But it's still, in saying that, I had an amazing childhood, but I always questioned everything, Ellen, right from the get-go. I just didn't feel comfortable. I did really feel that abandonment. And now I know it was from Christ. And, you know, we were talking about be not afraid 365 times. You know, I always say to the kids, I go, Mom, you're funny. I'll be driving home from dropping someone off. That's what I'm singing, belting it in the car. I haven't turned the radio on for at least 5 years because I can't stand listening to the same repeat. So I'll start singing those. I was in the church choir as a kid and I loved it. And so, yeah, so I think to your simple question of when, it's always been.
It's definitely, I could tell. It always has been. And, you know, on a side note, everyone needs to watch Free Guy because when they're actually out of the matrix, then the other thing that they say to each other, because they both worked at a bank, and one says to the other, where are the banks? And he said, you don't need banks here. And I was like, you know, it's just such a great ending
Great
of
movie.
where they're out of everything. It's so cool. So Dianne, so since we got to hear Ornella's story of her and kind of bringing us up to what she thinks of currently, what are your thoughts about the world now and what's to come? Are you feeling good in terms of the big bubble? What are your thoughts about the world things happening?
God wins. That's all I know. Honestly, so much crazy stuff has happened that not a lot shocks me anymore. And that's kind of a sad thing because whereas everything used to just bring me to tears, it's just like, yeah, look at that horrible news over there. Yeah, look at that horrible news over there. I get excited when he gets excited, when his enthusiasm, when he makes a connection. And I've told him, whatever this is that you've been able to see, everything has been a gift because he's so knowledgeable and he's so smart about everything. When he's okay and he gets excited and he gets giddy about these, look at what Trump posted, look at what he's saying, and then he explains everything, and I'm just like, wow. So there's something going on. There is something going on. As to what, I don't know. That's why I dive into my Bible and I've been just studying the word. I've been picking up any book that I can on God and reading that stuff and doing Bible study as much as I possibly can because that's the weird thing too, ladies, is I feel like I see things. And you said something, Ornella, that was the same. When you were a kid, I felt like that. Like, why am I here? I even remember thinking, why am I a girl? What is going on? I can remember thinking that kind of stuff and always just feel like I'm looking at everybody else going, why don't I get it? I do not feel the same as these people feel. Always. The outside looking in, outside looking in. But since I was a little one, a little kid. But these things what makes me feel good about what's to come.
Good.
Praying and him.
Exactly. That's what praying and our podcasters that dive into these things for sure.
Yeah. God brought us together for a reason. So
big time. Well, this has been such a joy to have you. And Tricia, do you want to add anything before we say goodbye to this wonderful adventure?
Oh, you're muted.
You're muted.
Yeah, I had notifications coming in. Before we hit record, I just, for the audience to understand just how supportive Diana is behind the scenes, I'd love for you to share the story about the fan and the computer running and how you...
Well, this summer, his first computer, the computer that he started the podcast on, was getting old. It was 7, 8 years old by now. And this summer, when it was running, and all of a sudden the fan just, because we have no AC in here, and it gets to over 100 degrees outside. We have only 3 windows in the whole house, so there's not much. And I got down on the ground while he's doing his podcast, and I'm fanning that sucker. Don't die on us now, baby. Don't die on us now.
Oh, the
Yep.
best. That is, you got to do what you
That
got to
is
do.
so
Yeah.
good. Yeah,
And
Yeah,
it's all a labor of love.
it's true.
That's
absolutely.
Everything.
everything I feel like I do. That's been my gift. I honestly feel like I was so very blessed to have an incredible mother who has given me unconditional love, who told me that her only goal in life, and see, I'm trying not to cry, her only goal in life was to show me what unconditional love is, and that God has that greater for me as well. And so she has loved me unconditionally, all my faults, all the crap, all the weird stuff that has happened in our life. That's something that I feel is my gift that I pass on to not only DC, to anybody that I meet. I can love you. I can give you a hug. I can try and make you smile. So,
Yes.
I'm sure she'd be really proud.
oh, she's still here.
Oh,
She's
Does she
still
watch?
alive.
Does she watch?
Does she watch like DC or what?
yeah.
Podcasters? Not a lot. That's a whole nother story. I just lost my stepdad. My mom took care of him for 4 years during this COVID, and I couldn't go back home. And that was another thing that just killed me. That
Oh,
she took care of
wow.
him. He became bedridden pretty much when COVID started, and I couldn't go back. I couldn't go
Wow.
back to help her. And he was bedridden. He's as big as DC. She's a little thing. And she took care of him. He was in her living room for 4 years in the hospital bed. And he just passed away. It was a year ago this August.
Wow.
Wow.
So
That's so sad.
unconditional love.
It is, and the stories that the things that people have gone through over these last years, and the fact that we're learning that it has been purposefully inflicted upon us. It again, we do have to have that incredible anchor of faith in order to be able
Amen.
to get through these arrests and things that are going to be coming, because it's going to shake
Yep.
everything before we go into
Mhm.
the golden age that they were talking
That's
about.
right. That's right.
Yeah. So I can't tell you enough, Tricia and I both, how this was so
You're
awesome
so
just to be
good,
able to spend
Ellen.
time with
Yeah, you're so
you
sweet.
all.
Thank
You
you.
know,
I'm
yeah,
honored that you even
it's
asked
so
me.
nice.
Yeah, thank you so much. It's so nice to talk to you guys face to face. This is great.
I know it really is, and I think that the audience is going to enjoy it and getting to know both of you. You're both just joyous and charming and with
Mm,
unconditional love, and it shows through,
thank
as you
you.
said, Diane. It shows through in both of you, and Tricia and I are just so happy that you spent
Yeah, you
time with
guys are
us. So
awesome. You guys are awesome at this, and I think you're helping a lot of people too. You're trying to
Yeah.
bring everybody, the people that are helping us, but you are also doing the same thing. So I'm so grateful for both of you, and of course now Diane too.
Thanks.
Thank you for being here. Like it's
Romans
bigger than we think.
12:21.
Yes.
what is it?
Romans 12:21. Be not overcome of evil, but overcome evil with good.
Yeah. Easy to
Yay! What a way to
I love
exactly.
end.
that.
That's so awesome. Yes.
Not
Thank
today,
you all
Satan.
so much. Yes, not today, ever. Thank you so much. You've all been
Mwah.
Okay.
wonderful.
Have a great
Okay, take
night.
care.
Stacy.
All right, bye.